I saw Arash Markaz tweeted that the get-in price for the game is $569. You can get in. You can basically buy 2 AFC tickets this week. Jags Chiefs get-in price $193. Bengals Bills $243. So you can get 2 of those tickets cheaper than you can get 1 Cowboy Niner ticket.
One of our loyal listeners, Scotty Raver, texted me early on in the Giants-Vikings game. He's like, I'm looking into Niners tickets right now. Do you think I should wait till this game ends to pull the trigger? And I said, well, because they were $250. I think it's like the front row, maybe of like the third deck or whatever. And I said, well, if the Giants are to win this game, to me, with Brady / the Cowboys, that price is going to skyrocket. Now, the Giants could easily lose this game, and I think you'll just be paying what you're paying. It'd probably stay pretty similar if it's the Vikings. It might go up a little bit, but it was clear that if the Giants won that game, I think Brady, it also would have been the same number, don't you think? Because we saw before that. I think people that pulled the trigger hoping that, this could potentially be a matchup, that it would be based on the Monday night game, got a huge discount if they did before the Giants won that game.
I don't think you could get bigger than Niners Cowboys. Like maybe Brady would be just as big, but I don't think. Like would Fox, who has this game and has Giants Eagles, so big weekend for Fox. Would Fox, who has this game, prefer this be Brady Niners?
No,
I don't know. They wouldn't. I remember looking it up when you and I were talking about it. I looked it up last year. We can guess the rating. Let's guess the rating on this game, but. In 95, which before last year was the last time the Niners and Cowboys had met in the playoffs, they played in what was still actually the 4th most watched conference championship game in NFL history. 56.8 million people watched Niners Cowboys NFC Championship game, 1995. 56.8. What did the Super Bowl do last year? Did you happen to look that up?
It was definitely over 100 million. I mean, it has been pretty consistently.
At 99.1.
The one thing I would say about 95, obviously, dynamics of society were a lot different, right? This thing called the internet didn't exist. Options, cable TV was, I don't know how prevalent it was. It wasn't in my home. I know that. Did you have cable TV in 1995?
No.
So the amount of people, could you meet a human being right now that does not either have cable TV or one of the streaming services? Like, of course, no, I don't think you could. Like, how many people you think in this world are just, the 4 channels?
Bunny ears in it?
It's probably not many. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't consider myself Belichick football historian, but I lived through the Niners growing up in Davis, California. That was the 3rd straight year the Niners and Cowboys had played. Obviously, the Cowboys had won the last 2 going to the Super Bowl, and that was, the year the Niners go on to beat the Chargers. So it had been this historic rivalry with these huge brands that have been 2 of the most successful brands in the history of the league in terms of winning. The Niners had won at started in 81. Obviously, the Cowboys had won in the 70s, but it had been a buildup. I think there's something to be a buildup. And that's where I'm saying with this game, I do think last year helps a little bit. Like you want this, right? The Niners playing the Packers a lot. Now, if the Niners start playing the Cowboys, let's say they play 3 of the next 4, like these 2 times, and then another time in 2 years. Like, that's good. The NFL wants their biggest brands playing all the time. Because when I saw on Twitter today them post the intro to that game, it might have been the 94 game, not the 95 game. It just went like, God, I mean, there's just a lot of people alive that were either kids when they're our age or just, for the next, you go 10 and 10 and 10, the generations above us that just, this is a big deal. But you got to build back up to it, right? Like if the Knicks and Bulls play in the playoffs next year, it doesn't quite feel like it did in the 90s. But if they play 3 straight years in the playoffs, it can feel big again.
Right. 41.5 was last year's number for the Niners. Cowboys, and that was the largest wild card game since 15, which was Lions-Cowboys. So the Cowboys being involved, like even when you go back and look at the Super Bowls from the 90s, Dallas-Buffalo in 93, 90.1. Dallas-Buffalo in 94, 90. Niners-Chargers, 83 million.
Blowout.
And the Chargers were even going in like, when not, people knew it was going to be a blowout. But also, give Dallas their props. Next year, Dallas, Pittsburgh,
What'd that do?
94.
What was Packers Broncos?
90.
Packers Pats?
87.8.
So they didn't really start hitting 100 million viewers till more recently, huh?
They didn't start hitting 100 million viewers till 2010. They were hitting high 90s. But 2010 was the first 100 million.
And what was that? Was that Packers Steelers?
Yeah, which is a great. No. That was Saints Colts.
Gotcha.
So they went 09 was Steelers Cardinals did 98. 2010 they jumped from 98 to 106 with Colts Saints. And then 2011 it jumps to 111 million Packers Steelers. So from 09 to 11 it went up from 98.8 to 111. And it basically peaked.
What was Giants Pats
2017
in 12? Was that had to be pretty big?
Giants Pats was 111. The biggest Super Bowl rating is Patriots Seahawks 114.
That was a good one.
114 mil. So and the game was good. So I'm with you. Like
at least not many people saw Russell and Pete fuck up that game, huh?
No, yeah, nobody saw. Everybody watching thought just give the ball to beast mode. So this game, what's your guess on the rating on this game? 46?
Yeah, 46, 47.
Last year was wild card round. I think it helps the second divisional round. You already have a week of playoffs and everyone's in playoff mode. It's the Sunday night game. Well, last year was it the Sunday night game last year?
I think it was Sunday afternoon.
I
think it was Sunday. They played Saturday night, the Packers, in the second round. I'm pretty sure this was just Sunday afternoon. Like Sunday at the second game.
Oh, that's right, because it was the wild card weekends. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Good weekend for Fox. Giants Eagles is the Saturday night game. Fox. Cowboys Niners. Fox.
Here's what I know. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but the Giants win that game. Obviously, this game would be for home field advantage in the NFC Championship game. I think the best football, and the way to get a legendary game is I want the Eagles healthy. I want them winning that game. Niners or the fucking Cowboys. I mean, I don't know who's going to win the game. If I did, I'd bet my life savings on it. That's the best. I want the best team. And the Eagles have way more. They have better players. But the Eagles are healthy. That's the best. I'm a football fan first. It'd be easier for the Niners to beat the Giants, but I want to see them go on the road and beat the Eagles. That would be one of the biggest wins of my lifetime for the franchise. And honestly, same goes for the Cowboys. I want the Eagles healthy. I want Jalen healthy. I want them to win that game. And honestly, the NFL should too, because that makes the Super Bowl even bigger. You want your best teams to keep rocking and rolling.
You don't want to end up with the national championship game, TCU, Georgia.
So, because I don't think, and I saw Dickinson tweet that it rotates on conference championship weekend. Last year, the NFC, the Niners game was after the Bengals Chiefs, AFC was first, NFC was second. So they flip-flop it. So the NFC Championship game, would be, I think it's 1:30 kickoff, 1:30, 5 o'clock, or whatever the East Coast times are.
You're saying the NFC game will be the earlier game this year?
Maybe it's noon Pacific Standard Time.
Got it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Historically said they've done that, but rumors were that they were going to go AFC, NFC on Monday Night Football, and they're like, wait, we can get the Cowboys? We'll
I know
that plan.
Yeah. Eagles, Niners in Philly. I mean, the NFC.
But if I told you right now it was Eagles, Niners in Philly, and then
Bengals, Jags,
that would suck. But
neutral
Buffalo Chiefs in Atlanta, that sucks. That takes away a little of the juice.
Yes. I'm just the one that
What
wanted.
if he came and said, "Listen, we'll get you guys neutral spot coin flip"? Do you think they would agree to that over the neutral site?
I think they would.
If you were the owner, I'd rather have a coin flip than playing a fucking neutral site game.
I agree.
I saw someone tweeted today, like Ticketmaster's doing some deal for home. It's like, what? You're gonna have like a split crowd?
Travel?
Like, is this a Rose Bowl?
Dan on the stream says Niners Rams last year hit 50.4 million, highest NFC Championship game since 2014. I predict 53 for Sunday night. That's a big ass number.
The one thing with the Rams game is it was the Sunday game of the week, week 18, and it was one of the most legendary regular season games in recent memory when the Niners won to get into the playoffs. Is it had like this part 2 3 weeks later. It was a unique setup. Obviously, it would have done big regardless, but it was a pretty big, like, they had just played in front of the fucking country, and it was a legendary game.
It's true.
I mean, that might be as good of a divisional game as the Niners, like, from an entertainment standpoint, as the NFC West plays in, like, 5 years. You also can't make up, like, I got to win to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're kicking their ass. I mean, the whole thing.
It's pretty incredible.
I think that's the craziest game of the Kyle Shanahan era.
Yeah, I think it probably is too.
They haven't really had any this year.
Not yet.
Not
the
yet.
Playoffs is where Kyle does some of his craziest shit. We judged last year. I mean, crazier than the Packer. You know, the Packer game in the postseason.
You're right. You're right.
Different kind of crazy. You had to win, but I mean, both kind of the stakes were, I guess, a little similar, but
those are probably 1-2 in some order. Because those two were way crazier than the Cowboy game, right? They played 3 straight games. The Cowboy game's easily last.
You're talking about last year's playoff Cowboy game?
Yeah, I'm talking Rams, Niners, Week 18, Cowboys, Packers. Packers was probably cooler given that, like, it's Lambeau Field. He just won the MVP.
I live in Atlanta. There'll be more fans at KC Buffalo game than at the Falcons game. Wheelie says, media nerds talking TV ratings is so fucking cringe.
I'm not in the media. Just talking about, it interests me.
I Niners Cowboys to me like, I could talk about Niners Cowboys all day long and every element of it, It's the kind of game where I wonder. I think Troy and Joe have had a lot of fun on ESPN this year. They've enjoyed themselves. I do wonder if Troy's like, because I think ESPN's done for the postseason now, unless they wouldn't have a conference championship game this year. Right?
No, CBS Fox.
So ESPN's done. I think Fox has the Super Bowl this year, right? Olsen and Burkhart.
Yeah,
and Tom. Maybe they're going to put Tom into the booth. They can put Tom in the booth. What if they put actually? You want to make this Niner Cowboy game ratings go even higher? You put Tom in the booth this week.
Yeah,
with Olsen and Burkhart.
I don't think we're seeing Tom on television.
I mean, to me, it's totally dependent on have they advanced him the $40 million or not. If they've already paid him $40 million retainer, because here's the thing: like, no, you don't have to retire to do TV, right? Greg Olsen was doing TV every year for the
Josh Norman.
Josh Norman?
Remember he did like Sunday hits on his off day on Tuesday? He would film something.
No, I remember Brandon Marshall doing like the Showtime show.
Josh did the same thing.
I didn't remember Josh doing that.
A long time ago.